Hey, this is Mr. Mitchell, physical science teacher at Coosa High School, and today we want to talk about multiplying and dividing in scientific notation. Now, we have had adding and subtracting, and the rules were the same in adding and subtracting scientific notation, but they are not in multiplying and dividing. So let's take some time to learn this, and then you can do some practice problems and see how well you're doing. You can see we kind of have some rules here. To multiply, you multiply the numbers and then add the exponents. Keep in mind, these are really big numbers you are actually working with instead of smaller numbers that they look like in scientific notation. So you would not multiply the 2 times 4. You would add the 2 and the 4. So let's try that, and then over here we have a division where you can see it's something different. So, to multiply, you multiply the number and add exponents. I'll get my marker and we'll see what we can do. So, I guess it first says to multiply the number 3.2 times 1.8. And I know this is something that can be pretty easily done, but since I happen to have a calculator with me, I will do it on the calculator. You can't see it, but I am typing in 3.2 times 1.8, and the figure I get is 5.76, so I'm going to round that to 5.8. 5.76 would round up to 5.8. So we would then not forget to do our exponent times 10 to the, hey, what are we doing? We're adding exponents because we're multiplying. That's the rule. When you multiply this number and this number, you've got to add the exponent. So that would be 2 plus 4 is 6. So it's kind of like you've got two problems going on here. You've got the first problem where you actually do the multiplying of these first two numbers, and then you have the second problem where you actually do the adding of the two numbers that go with the 10. So at the end you pull them together to 5.8 times 10 to the 6th, and that's how you multiply numbers that are in scientific notation. Now you see we have a different rule for dividing, and you probably have already noticed that after you divide the numbers, you subtract the exponents. So in this case, we have one number over another number in a fraction. Now you may remember, if you were to punch this in a calculator, you would have top number divided by bottom number. And that's what I'm going to do to these two numbers here. So it's just like we have two different math things going on. The first one is going to be to divide the numbers. So I'll do exactly what I said. I'm going to type in 1.88 divided by 2.0. And that would equal 0.94. Now we're going to end up changing this because 0.94 is not a form in which you typically do scientific notation, but we'll get to that in a little bit. And you know it will be times 10 to the something, it's just a matter of what. Now since we have this top of the fraction divided by the bottom of the fraction, here we start with the top number first. And yes, it does make a difference. If we had done 3 minus 6, it would be negative 3. But in this case, it is 6 minus 3. So, of course, 6 minus 3 is 3. So you have, once again, two different math things going on. You've got the dividing of the numbers, top divided by bottom, and then subtracting of the exponents, top minus the bottom. So we have the answer as 0.94 equals 10 to the third. But you may remember in scientific notation, we want the decimal here. We want it to be 9.4 times 10 to something. It's just a question of what will that 10 to something be. And you may remember, whenever we move the decimal this way, is going to make it, is it going to make it bigger? Or is it going to make it smaller? I believe I remember it's going to make it smaller. That's correct. So now it's going to be 9.4 times 10 to the second power. And that is just converting this into what would be the standard scientific notation form. We do have some practice problems on this on tinyurl.com/y3zmdlem. And that will be hopefully some stuff you can do because you've seen how to multiply and how to divide these numbers in scientific notation.